Hello, hello, hello. Baby dog and I are making a video in the garden right now. It's beautiful. Baby dog likes to sit in the sun. This time I control the camera around because we are alone in the garden right now. It is wonderful. We brought the kiddie pool with us to this house. The kiddie pool. We bought that for the Papa dog long time ago. It only cost $4 at the hardware store. Yes, and now we have to make this work and maybe this summer fill it up with rainwater from those rain barrels. And then maybe the baby dog can get into that kiddie pool and splash around in it a little bit. So we'll see. Yeah, it's a beautiful day today. Absolutely gorgeous. And it is fun for the baby dog to be in the garden and sit in the sunlight. But I can't sit in the sunlight because I get sunburned and I also can't see anything really. Then it blinds my eyes. So this here is stained. I have to take it to the other house. I have to sew this because the zipper had been broken off, and I have to basically sew this like a sweater, and I have to also sew this part, I guess, so that it does not fizzle out. I cut a lot of my sweaters to half arm's length because I need a sweater. I need to be warm, but at the same time I need to have my underarms free, because what I really hate in the winter time is when I wash dishes or when I work in the house and then the ice freezing cold, like 32 degrees Fahrenheit water, will run down on my arms inside of the sleeves, and I really don't like that. I also don't like to have long sleeves that if I wind it up, sometimes they fall back down, and then the sleeves cuffs will fall into something dirty that I have OCD with, and that's a problem. And then my hands are dirty and I can't even touch the sleeves to roll it back up, and it's a big issue, and I do this here. So I just decided just cut the arms halfway off and be done with that problem. And now but then it fizzles out and it's not really cut the right way. It is too loose here, but whatever. I can make adjustments to it. And I do that all the time, and that's really nice to be able to know how to sew by hand and fix things and repair things, bedding, clothing, so you don't have to constantly buy new stuff. And it's also really bad for the environment and for the earth to be constantly buying new clothes and feed into this consumerism cycle of trashing and buying and over consuming. So this is not good for the world. And Vivienne Westwood was living by that principle. So she bought fabrics that were like reclaimed materials, reused materials, recycled fabrics, recycled twine, and like ocean debris plastic made into twine, those kind of fabrics that she used for her fashion. And her partner Andreas is carrying this on now. So this is really wonderful. She has really done amazing work for this planet. Madame Vivienne Westwood, the founder of punk rock, girlfriend of Malcolm McLaren, and Sex Pistols and the original punk bands, and they all came to her store in England, in London. And that was the very beginning of this movement. That was like, I think the TED movement predates it, and from the TED movement it went over into this sort of like rebellious trash type of movement of punk, of the punk era. And then all of the other bands and all of that, the black outfits and all of this came out of that. But Vivienne wasn't only about black outfits. Vivienne was always about amazing, she called it frilly stuff. Yeah. Frilly stuff that is complicated, fabrics with frilly, twilly, extra knobbies and fibers that would come out and that are interesting materials and fabrics and plastic stuff also woven onto it or tucked into it or stuck into it. She used those things that, how are they called? Brosche in German. They like something made out of a rock or metal or plastic, and that has a needle on one hand, like a safety pin, and then she would stick that onto, you can stick that onto your clothes, like sort of like a clothes jewelry piece. She would always do these kind of things. She would always be making sure that she doesn't overconsume and that she wears her clothes, that she repairs them. And that's what people used to do a couple of 100 years ago. They didn't have all of these stores out there and be going shopping every year, all the time, getting new clothes, getting an entire new wardrobe. So it's really irresponsible to do that. So I'm fully on board with the old-fashioned style of living, where you repair your clothes and your fabrics, and you make something out of reclaimed, recycled materials, reuse old stuff that you have, make something out of baby blankets or torn blankets or torn sheets or something, and you can make something new out of it, something great. So that's how we make things better for the world, for the environment. So last night I made, I don't know how to call it. I decided to talk to my haters last night, and I don't know if it's a mistake that I did it, but it made me cry, and it made me cry last night. I cried myself to sleep. It felt really, really like burning in my solar plexus, and then when I woke up today, I thought about this again, and then as I was getting ready, getting dressed, I thought about it, and I sat on my couch with my baby dog, and I literally howled up to the ceiling for a long time, maybe for half an hour. Howled and howled and howled and howled and cried about the gaslighting and the humiliation, the constant humiliation. I don't know why they do it. I guess they probably do it to feel like they're in charge. They're in charge of the situation. Here's someone who comes into their lives who is not religious and who does not conform to what their society is prescribing to their people. And I guess it's maybe a threat. It makes them feel like they're not in charge when I'm there, and when I like literally bulldoze the conversation with my statements. And a lot of people, they all say, don't bulldoze anyone. You have to meet people where they are, and you have to be gentle with them. I am very gentle with people, but I have to bulldoze when it comes to ethical themes. Okay, so when it comes to ethics, when it comes to compassion, I have to speak out, and I have to be very, very stern about it. I have to make a very clear statement that cannot be misunderstood. That statement is not picking anyone up where they are at in a boxing ring or something, okay? Because I'm against it. Why should I meet people in a boxing ring? This is just a metaphor. Or in a war zone, okay, where I don't want to be. So no, I bulldoze over that, okay? I ride over that boxing ring in that war zone, and I write peace on top of that war zone image that they create, okay? And I say no to violence, no to Islam, no to religion, no to burqas, all of that. Okay, I have to resituate myself. It is it's uncomfortable like this in a diamond seat all the time. So yeah, I'm getting grounded at the same time on the grass. This is really nice. And I'm sitting here with fresh grass and with the ivy brush next to me. It's really, really nice. And the sky is blue. It is gorgeous. I really enjoy being out here and taking Sandy with me and Elsa and my brother. My brother is, I don't know if he's mad at me. I never know. So my dad is probably really indignated now. That's why my dad became a little bit naughty, a little bit nasty in the conversation, because I basically, again, sort of bulldozed over his idea of architecture, his idea of how someone is supposed to live, how someone is supposed to be civilized, yeah, in quotation marks. And a composting toilet doesn't fit that image, doesn't fit that picture. So yeah, that made me cry too for several days. I was also really mad at my dad, and I almost wrote a very mean letter, which I have done a lot in the past. You know, I get into mean letter writing and like breaking up the bridges with people, blowing off any last ditch communication with anyone. That's what I do because I have Asperger's and I am a borderliner. Okay, the borderliner is borderline, kind of like sitting right there on the threshold on the border between composure and freaking out, in whatever way. That could be freaking out into a psychotic way or into an anger fit or whatever. So that's there, that's my predisposition. But it only really gets intense when we have childhood trauma. So then it really comes into its action. So if we don't have childhood trauma, it doesn't even have the need to come out into its form of funneling that emotional pain into this direction. So people have different funnels for their emotional pain. Some people just act everything out right away, like a knee-jerk reaction. Some people can't control any anger at all. For me, it takes a while until I snap over into the anger, and it happens. It always happens. It still happens. But I'm practicing, at least, to not write angry letters anymore. I'm practicing because I don't want to. In the chat room, that's a completely different situation. These people, they don't even deserve for me to restrain my anger because of how they have let their anger out on me for over 10 years. So, and I'm not just letting my anger out on random people. I let my anger out on those people that have hurt me, okay? And not on people that are just happen to be there and that are easy to pick on. No. I don't pick on people that are easy to pick on just because they're there. If they're innocent, I protect these people, okay? No, I let my anger out on those people that deserve it, that are violent psychopaths, like Philip Jones. Oh, yeah, those people. And I don't know if that's the same person as Zane or Viral or whatever. It really doesn't matter that much who anyone is. Okay, those are all pseudonyms. Those are all fake names, and whoever's behind these names or these multiple accounts, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I see that these accounts have bullied me for over 10 years under different names. The style of writing is the same, could be the same person, could be different people. But like being blindfolded, but you still have the right to say something, You have the right to say whoever is screaming in my ear, whoever is insulting me, whoever is poking me, I'm saying something. My mouth is not taped. I'm still saying something. And I say it just randomly into the room. And I say it to the ones that have bullied me for so many years. And I have the right to do it, okay? And I don't know, maybe that's an act out too. But I don't insult anyone. I would never insult anyone. But I tell you how I feel, honestly. Okay, this is what it feels like. I'm not going to euphemize it. I'm not going to make it sound better than it is. Okay, so if I feel like punching these people in the face with an iron club, then I will say it. I don't know. I would never do it if someone like these people would talk to me on the street and say something in a friendly way. Okay, then I would never do that. Never hurt them. Even if I'm still angry, I would never hurt them with anything. I would only hurt them in absolute self-defense. That's when the iron club comes out, okay? We have that iron club under Paul's driving seat in the van, so just in case, It weighs a lot. It weighs several pounds. I don't know how many pounds, 10 pounds or something. 10-pound iron crowbar. Yeah, one can club someone over the head with that. Really good. So it's also a tool, really. But yeah, and then Paul, he got attacked by a pit bull, but he warded the dog off, and those homeless people were full of shit, and he had to yell at them. So next time he takes the baby dog for a walk, he's gonna have to step it up a little bit. and bring a pepper spray and bring a knife, a large knife that he recently bought. So that is in a casing, in a safe casing, but it's easy to get out. So, and he's gonna clip that onto his belt. You know, it's unfortunate, you know, that one can't even go for a walk anymore in peace in a rural community like this one. You have to be worried that some extremely dysfunctional homeless people will come over with their completely out of control dogs that they have absolutely no control over whatsoever. They don't even have a leash. Okay, so these people shouldn't even have a dog then, if they have absolutely no control over their dogs. I mean, that can end up really badly. Those dogs, they can hurt a child, they can hurt a little dog. The baby dog he lunged at that dog several times. Paul restrained him. He had him on the leash and on the chest harness. But the baby dog, when Staffordshire's go into a fight, they don't let off. Even if they are outnumbered or if the other dog is bigger, they will go right for the throat of the other dog and they will kill that other dog. They won't stop until the other dog is dead. And why go through something like this? You know, that's not very good. And then the Staffordshire will also get injured really badly in this process, and we don't want that to happen at all. You know, he's already been bitten. He's already been through stuff before we got him. You know, he had scars on him when we first adopted him. Now these scars have grown over and healed, and so we don't want anything to happen to him. He was depressed when he came home yesterday after that happened, that encounter at the cemetery with the homeless dog. So, yeah, things are getting more and more violent in the world. Then I heard a siren early this morning. I thought, this is World War III now starting. I got really depressed. I prayed to the blue God. I thought, oh, I smell something in the air. Is that radioactivity? No, it wasn't. That was just my imagination, thank goodness. So, yes, the baby dog is nice in the sun. Yes. So I taught the baby dog when he was depressed on the couch. I could really see that, you know, he was really sad and depressed for that violence of that dog, the violent barking at him and launching at him. So I taught the baby dog he is a very courageous and brave soldier, and that made him feel so much better, believe it or not. Words carry energy, okay? Even for an animal who doesn't really speak your language, but they understand more than you think. So they understand a lot of words, also in context, of course, similar to a little child, really, who is just starting to learn to speak. But that's limited, not like a child. Child will surpass them, of course, you know, with the linguistic skills. But the dogs understand a lot, things that they heard before in a specific situation. You know, we're going for a walk, they understand. He understands the energy of the words. When I talk to him and I say, you are a brave soldier, okay, you're my Casey Kasem, God level soul, okay, he was the Casey Kasem radio host in his former life, and the radio host always said to everyone, I love you all, you are all amazing, and you can become anything you want to if you put your heart and mind into it. Okay, reach for the stars, you can become anything you want to. And that's a wonderful message to send out. Each day he would start the radio show. I think it's wonderful, absolutely fantastic. And he was in LA. And he is not far from LA. He's out there just north of LA, I guess, somewhere in that region, somewhere near Fresno, I think that's where he's from. And a real nice lady went all the way down there to pick him up, and some other pit type dogs. Yes, a beautiful dog is that. It's a beautiful dog. That is a brave soldier. Yes, a brave soldier with a lion face. Yes, a beautiful lion face. Yes, a beautiful dog. That is a beautiful dog, is that? Yes, oh yes, that is a beautiful dog. Beautiful pillow head. So, yeah, what else did I want to talk about? I believe in empowerment. I believe in saying to people how you feel, honestly. Ultimately, I care about everyone. I care about the haters too. When I feel better, I can reflect on that. And sometimes I pray for them to the blue God to help them heal their trauma, because they have trauma, not only from this life, but from past lives. And we also have genetic trauma that, believe it or not, the science is getting to this now with epigenetics, and there are all kinds of terminologies, like Stuart Hameroff and Penrose. They got also closer to these kind of things. Rupert Sheldrake and Bruce Lipton, those amazing scientists that are really digging into this, and they don't let anyone humiliate them. They don't care if the scientific community snubs them. They're digging into the endless rabbit hole, as they call it. They're digging into the endless tunnel of metaphysics and the occult. So it goes in there. It definitely does. Yeah. Those are not separate worlds, okay? Science and the occult. It's just that the scientists have closed the door in various levels of at different scientific levels. Some people go a little bit deeper into the tunnel. Some people stay just with the Newtonian physics. Okay, some of them know that they cannot be a full atheist, because that's like closing the door. That's like a little child who puts blinders on her eyes and says, now I don't see anything. Now they don't see me either, right? I mean, kind of like that, symbolic for that. So I'm going to go to this point, this far, and say, okay, here's the DNA, and this is as far as I'm willing to go. No, there are scientists that are willing to go much deeper and probe deeper and check things out and use the scientific methods for that, and the honest scientific methods. Real science is honest. Okay? Real science does not close the door. Real science is not pseudoscience. Real science is not endorsing some religion. Real science is not endorsing the tobacco industry or the pharma industry. Real science is really going into that's what's out there. Nature, plants, grass, animals, frogs, what our cells do, what stem cells are doing, as Dr. Michael Levine, he's working on frog stem cells, and it is remarkable what these stem cells will do. They already have some sort of blueprint autonomy, that most scientists weren't even willing to look into. So they're really into cell clustering if they get the chance to do it. They do that in the Petri dish. It's really amazing, all of this. Kind of like Pac-Man, the original video games. That's how they look like. It's really something. They'll dock onto other cells if they can. If the surface had been manipulated a little bit in a way where it would dock on, and then they would keep on going around the other cells to dock onto more and more cells in order to create a cell cluster. And that's also how this evolutional path happened with the original single cells that created cell clusters. So this sort of blueprint, or this sort of pre-knowledge, if we want to call it that, a knowledge type of energy has already been in the primordial cells that were in the primordial life soup, the original condition on Earth that made this happen, that created these first amino acids that were able to zip themselves into two. And then from there, they created longer strands, and they amassed sort of like some kind of film around them after a while to protect themselves from the outside water, from the outside of their cell cluster. So, and it just continued on and on and on, and that became myelin and very complex cellular insulation sheets that form themselves around our neurons and our axons, that are basically the electric cords of our brain neurocircuitry. So it's just an evolutionary path, right? And it takes a long time, obviously, for that to form itself, but it does. And then so because of this, I'm pretty sure that the same type of development will be happening endless times in outer space as well. So I have to go into the house. It's the blue god. Take care.